Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terribles over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
To the second one.
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch is what he's trying to do.
Speedway. We've got Devin Borden with us
at Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep.
March 4th, 2024. We are the Turn 2 Terribles. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. We got a great show for you guys tonight. We got JJ Loss, who's going to come in and join us. We're going to talk to him about his career up to this point and what his 2024 looks like. And then we'll also recap Lincoln from yesterday and take a look at the weekend upcoming. Hopefully more racing than what the radar says. What's going on, guys? Chris, JZ, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. Good. I got the camera back, so I'm not just hiding in the back. You guys hear voices? I'm ready to go.
Oh, I missed your face.
I like what you did with the place. I like the drapes in the back.
It's not done yet, but I did find my Port Royal shirt. Break it out for the new camera. And
look at that shirt and camera.
it was.
As always, thanks everybody for tuning in. We see you, Steph. I know we're 5 minutes late. We're getting set up here. Sorry. Brad, thank you for tuning in as always. Everybody tuning in, thank you very much. If you guys got any questions for JJ, for us, any comments, whatever, make sure you drop them in the chat. And if you're listening to this the next day, you can still hit us up on Facebook, X, YouTube, whatever, comment in there, and we'll try to get those read. So without any further ado, let's bring on tonight's guest, the driver of the number 67 410 sprint car, JJ Loss. JJ, thank you so much for joining us. How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Appreciate you being here, man. I like the setup too, by the way. That's pretty legit. I'm jealous. I could do that and I didn't because I'm lazy, I guess. Or I need my own shirts. That's what I need. I need my own shirts. Just my name on them, randomly.
I feel like I'm at a merch table at a concert or something. That's awesome. I love the setup.
All right, brother. Hey, welcome in, man. I appreciate you coming in. Got to watch you race here the last year here back in PA, back home, I guess. But I think everybody kind of locally, if they don't know you, is now you're on the radar. You're on everyone's radar a little bit. So for folks that don't know about your kind of history and your story, tell us your background, your background in racing and your family's background, if any, and you moved around a little bit the last couple of years. So kind of give us the story. What's going on with you?
So I started out here running Hagerstown and the quarter midget track up at Babs. Grew up racing there with quarter midgets and decided to move to California for my stepmom's job and ended up buying a micro out there. Ran the micro deal for 3-4 years. Jumped around from California to Kansas and then to Oklahoma, and ran micros around there, ran the Now 600 series, and picked up a couple wins with that. And then we moved back here and bought a sprint car.
So you moved back here and said, well, I want to race, so why not a 410? I mean, how does that correlate? You know, what came to that? What brought you to that decision?
Well, 410s have always been my dream, so that was a big step in it. And we talked to a lot of the guys who run 410s now who came through the 358 deal, and it's kind of around the same cost. So if we were going to end up in the 410 anyways, we really just got told that it's worth it to just jump right into the 410 so you're not making habits, or what's the right word to use here? I guess skills that you would use in a 358 that you can't use in a 410. We just wanted to bypass all that. So I wasn't learning a 358 for a year or two and then jumping into a 410 and kind of being behind, I guess.
So you get home, you build all this stuff, you get out last year, and you come out for opening day at Lincoln. Were you at the Icebreaker last year?
I was not, no. We started racing, I think my first 410 show was in July at some point.
Oh shit, I thought it was sooner than that. I don't know why I thought like early year. But tell me about that first day at the racetrack a little bit, because I think the word might be eventful. Tell everybody a little bit about that first race, because I saw what ended your day, but what was that day like? Getting the car prepped. I know you probably fired the car and you did all these things, but what was it like getting behind the wheel, going out on the racetrack in a 410? What was that whole experience like?
I mean, it really started like any other day would. Loaded the car up, got to the track, and for the most part, I think it was pretty standard and just kind of fired off, ran heat in the motor, whatever, ran hot laps, felt really good. Felt pretty confident, and went into the heat race feeling all right. And as you guys probably saw, it didn't end great, jumped the right rear and destroyed a car. So that's how that first race ended. But it was all a learning curve, and I'm hoping I won't have to make that mistake again.
Well, listen, and sometimes it's not going to be your fault, right? You're going to wreck more race cars, whether it's your fault or not, and it's part of learning and growing and the path to it. I think we've had a lot of young drivers on this show, and it almost doesn't matter what division it is. You're going to go through those moments of whether it was something, aero, whether it's the speed and entry and just everything, right? There's so many things that can happen, especially if you're tagging the back of a heat or you do a poor draw, and all it takes is one person to mess up in front of you, and it's your mess in a hurry. So July was your first race out. This was just last year, right? 2023?
Correct.
2022.
2023.
Just 2023. And you go from your first race in July, we got into like September, and you were leading laps in an A main. Was that something you projected when you jumped in that car in July the first time by saying I could go lead laps in a 410 race at Lincoln by September?
Not even close. That was a very breathtaking and humbling moment for us as a small family-owned team, low budget. It takes a lot of talent to be able to compete with the guys who run Lincoln weekly and just the guys who show up, especially to be running out front against Freddie and Dylan Norris and guys like that. It's a special skill. I mean, and it's a hard one to learn for sure.
And it's probably quite a bit different. I mean, learning how to pace yourself, and you want to go as hard as you can every lap. And does it make a mistake? It costs you, those are all things you're going to learn over time. And you're like, if you never thought about leading a 410 race this season in 2023, let alone it may not have been on your radar yet. were you just waiting for somebody to show up on your doorstep and go by you, or were you pretty good about trying to hit your marks and not worry about what other people are doing?
I was more focused on trying to see how many laps were left, trying to push through, and really just get through lap traffic. That's a big thing that I've kind of struggled with so far this year or last year. Is just lap traffic and being able to pace myself through lap traffic, but at the same time get through it as quick as possible.
So your shirt, Next Level Graphics, I believe it says. So
Yep.
tell everybody a little bit about that, because that's part of the deal that helps you get around the track and get to the track every week. So tell us a little bit about Next Level.
Next Level Signs and Graphics is my dad and stepmom's business. It's changed its name a few times, but they've owned it for about 10 years now. We specialize in just about anything you can think of. And I don't know, they keep my car looking great. So, and they keep me running around the track. So.
And where are we? Obviously, you had the car at Racing Extravaganza and talked, and you were really hopeful to be out for Icebreaker and ready to go, but some things have delayed the plan. So, have you gotten any news lately of when you'll be ready to go?
Right now, we're waiting on pistons and valves. So, as soon as they show up and the motor's ready, we will be out. Hopefully, in the next couple weeks. I'm tired of sitting in the stands and watching these races, but. No, we're the car's ready. We're working on getting the trailer ready and just waiting on a motor right now. And like I was telling the guys before the show, it's already hard enough to find pistons, and I chose to have a Mopar, which makes it 10 times worse. So that's just what we're waiting on right now. But once we get those, we will be on the track.
You talked about racing 600s micros out in California, and then you went, Texas and all over the place. Is the California micro scene where you were, does that resemble sort of the overall California dirt track racing scene where it's as competitive as Central PA and a 410? Is it crazy out there with the kids and the drivers and where you were?
It's honestly, I would compare, if you were to compare the Central PA like sprint cars to a micro division, I would probably pick the Midwest micro divisions. There's just, where we were, you're right there in Tulsa. So you got guys who are not only running midgets nowadays, but are also multi-time Tulsa shootout champions. So you got a lot of really good guys there. And it's pretty close, to be honest with you. Like, you have to be, like I said earlier, you have to be really good to be able to compete with those guys. So,
when you ran the micro, were you wing or wingless or both?
We ran a little bit of both.
Okay. What do you think of the non-wing? Is that something you'd ever look into now that you're in a big car down the road?
Non-wing 410s kind of scare me. I'm not going to lie to you. But the non-wing micro deals, they're fun. I've taken my fair share of tumbles in non-wing micros, but they're very fun. I like the way they drive. Compared to a wing micro, it's just the wing micro, you're so locked down and it's not much movement. But the non-wing car, you can pretty much put it anywhere you want.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. How much are you involved or knowledgeable about the new batch track coming? The new micro track.
I've heard very, very little about it. I heard they're struggling to get a permit for it right now, but that's all I've heard about it. I haven't heard how big it's actually going to be or what it's going to be like or when they're actually going to race or anything like that.
Their goal is May or June, I believe. They put out a schedule. He has been struggling with some permit type stuff, and everything's kind of slow moving. It is supposed to resemble Kutztown, is kind of what I've been told. I think Colton said if you're standing in the infield, the top of the walls is 9 feet in elevation to the top. So it's going to be pretty high banked. It's going to resemble a Kutztown. But so if somebody came knocking on JJ Loss's door and said, "Hey, a wingless 600 at BAPS on a Friday night," would you be up for it?
Depends who it is, depends what the equipment looks like, and depends what the payout looks like. I mean, if it's a KKM show, then maybe. But if it's just a weekly show, probably not. It's not worth risking tearing somebody else's car up for no reason for very little money or hurting myself and putting me out for the 410 season. So,
Fair enough. Chris, Jimmy, what do you got?
I'll go. So, JJ, go back to last year, that learning curve. You talked about that first race, jumping the right rear to leading laps. What was that learning curve for you like over last summer?
It was a big learning curve. Really just learning the closing speeds and how close you can get to everything. I mean, in a 410, just about hitting anything could end in disaster. So that's kind of different from the micro scene where you can bounce off of each other and just keep going. The sprint car deal is fun. I feel like there's way more respect in it than the micro deal because you can't just drive through each other without destroying two race cars, which is honestly a big reason why we got out of micros is because people were starting to lose respect, and it's just not worth tearing up so much equipment when you could be spending the same money running a sprint car. So the learning curve was big. Like I said, just a lot of learning where you need to lift and how far you can push yourself and things like that.
Sure. So what would you say the most challenging thing to learn was jumping obviously right in full send on a 410?
I think I still have a lot to learn, but so far I think probably the hardest thing to learn is wheel spin and keeping the front end down.
Sure. Now, so you don't like sitting in the stands, but are you watching and learning while you're sitting in the stands at Lincoln the last 2 weeks or whatever, or you're just kind of enjoying it as a fan?
100%. I'm learning and definitely enjoying it as a fan as well. But I'm paying attention to guys like Macri and Moody and guys like that who are running up front, and Danny and Freddie who are coming through the field racing hard. I mean, those are guys you want to watch. Those are the guys who I grew up watching, some of them. I mean, Danny, I grew up watching Danny. But those are guys you want to watch to see where they're running, how hard they're running. And I feel like this is something that not many guys who are in the stands can notice. But like as a race car driver sitting in the stands, you can tell when, like when Macri's getting into the corner, you can tell where his lift points are. And where he's back on the gas. Those are things I try to pay attention to. Just kind of all out where they're running, how they're running.
Sure. Go ahead, Jimmy.
So going into this season, obviously, kind of still up in the air on exactly when. But and you're talking about just trying to continue to learn and continue to improve. What would you say if you accomplished would be make it a successful season? Like if I accomplished X, I will be happy with the year.
Really just learning. Like I said before, I want to learn as much as possible this year. That's really what this year is. Last year was supposed to just be a few races, get my feet wet in the 410. It ended up being around 20 shows that we ran, but 20 shows isn't enough for a 16-year-old to learn what he needs to learn in a 410. So there's a lot more learning coming with it. But accomplishments would probably be to make most of the A mains and try not to destroy equipment. Hopefully throw in a couple top 10s, top 5s.
Some questions from the viewers. Alex Robinson, this is when you were talking about micros before. KKM at Clyde Martin, would you be interested in that?
It was up in the air, but I believe there is a bigger 410 show that weekend or something's going on that weekend. So I don't think I'll be attending that one.
Seth Dietrich says, "Whoa, it's Nick Jonas."
It's 2 weeks in a row with some sort of like TRL celebrity references.
Yeah, that's a joke at the track. He likes to say all that. So,
and then Steph says, "How hard is it to switch from track to track, and especially when you're comparing something like a micro track to something like Lincoln?"
Well, I've ran Lincoln, Baps, and the Grove. Lincoln and Baps they're around the same. The only thing that I really needed to change with my driving style there was Baps tends to blow off way quicker. But I mean, I grew up and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a pretty heavy bottom feeder. So being a bottom feeder is not a bad place to be at Baps. But Going from Lincoln to the Grove, it's a big difference. There's a lot more speed traveling down the straightaways. I've only ran probably 3 or 4 races at the Grove, and I've learned a lot so far. But I think probably the hardest thing is just the speed differences getting into the corners.
And then Brent True with a pretty good question here. What do you think is the biggest factor to the lack of respect in the micros? I was thinking that before because you said there's a lot more respect with the 410s and everything. Do you think it's just like the overall speed and safety of it that goes into it?
I think safety does play a big part into it, but probably the biggest factor to the lack of respect is these kids who are coming up in the world who kind of just hire somebody to work on their car full time and they just show up and drive it. I mean, I'm not that way. I was raised to respect my equipment and work on it all the time. Like I'll always have a hand in on my car. The only time I won't is if I'm in the work area. I mean, I'm hands-on, and personally, I think being hands-on you're gonna win races in the shop. Yes, you need to win races on the track as well with moves there, but learning more about your car is better so that when you're on the track, you know exactly what the car is doing or a better idea of what it's doing. So I think it's a lot of these kids don't know how much it actually takes to rebuild a race car. And unfortunately enough, I've had to do it a couple times all in 1 week. So that's probably my biggest thing on it is these kids are not working on it enough as much as I think they should be. But that's just my say on it. That's me growing up working on my own stuff all the time. So
the race on Sunday at Lincoln, I switch gears a little bit. So you were sitting in turn 4, so you got to see I mean, there was action on both ends of the track the whole way through the field, but you were sat in the seat of a race car at Lincoln Speedway, and you've thrown sliders and you've had sliders thrown on you. Were some of those sliders some of the longest sliders that you've seen at Lincoln in a while? It felt like they started them before they entered 3, and they weren't finishing them until late exit of 4. Was I just seeing things, or was it a long off season, or did you feel that way too?
No, you're right, Jay-Z. I think that guys were definitely throwing longer sliders. I think that there was enough to lean on at the top of the track. So, I mean, guys like Borden and Danny and Freddie and all them guys, they're pitching it in and they're getting it, I mean, to the bottom of the fence or the guardrail on apex, and they're sliding the rest of the way up. That's kind of the way you have to throw sliders, is to the exit of the corner, not towards the guy's left front to clear it. But yeah, I think you're right. I think they were a lot of longer sliders at Lincoln this weekend.
It just seemed like they really had to go all the way down to the inside wall, and you'll see that sometimes, but it just seemed like every slider had to be all the way to the inside wall to all the way back to the outside wall. And I mean, I guess I can't say longer by distance, but it felt like they had to just go deeper down on the bottom to make it work on exit. And even doing that, there were so many that were just parked on the other car's nose that it was sketchy multiple times. I was like, wow, like it just seemed really aggressive. Which I think you had to do, right? I don't think there were a lot of passes done just in a normal way, the way that track was. There wasn't really anybody that was running the bottom with any kind of speed. So the only way to do it is a momentum shift and slide them,
I think there was just so much moisture and speed on the top, and that's why we're having to throw sliders like that, because you're not going to be able to enter straight through the slick and throw a short slider, as some of these guys would say, and clear a guy without taking the nose out with him. So,
were you surprised about the amount of speed and moisture there was after watching the heat races? Were you surprised that stayed there that long?
Honestly, I watched hot laps and I was kind of surprised with how much speed the track had in it. With how much it was already blowing off, it kept speed all night as well. So that kind of threw me off a little bit, but I was glad to see that it had speed and it was a good race. So,
and we may talk about this after, but you're 100% right watching your observation, because where I was standing, it felt like everybody was still fast, but they were running around the bottom. They were, it was just dirty across the top. They couldn't run up there. I at one point during, I think, middle of the heats or something, I passed Fred Putney in the infield, and we crossed paths, and he said, He stuck the screwdriver down the track and it went to the handle, solved. He said, but you can't move. Like it is what it is. So, it wasn't like it was hard, dry, slick. It was like you said, it had speed in it, but that was it. That was all you had. So what he did yet again, knows that racetrack inside and out, what to do. And that's 2 weeks in a row where the heat races weren't great, but we had one hell of a feature. So if you're ever going to, count on anybody to get it right, daytime, nighttime, good weather, bad weather, it's Fred Putney, because he just knows what that place needs. And I couldn't believe it actually, because he laid a little bit of water and then just scratched it, ran it in, and that's all it took. That's all it took to get the top to be like that. It wasn't deep at all. I was really surprised. Like I didn't think it was going to even. I didn't think it would build enough of curb or have enough moisture deep enough for that to last. I thought it'd be 6-8 laps and everybody go back to the bottom. I couldn't believe it lasted that long, but that's why he's doing what he's doing, and that's why I'm sitting here talking about it. So happy to see that for sure. There were a lot of people complaining about after the heats again, and then you end up seeing a great feature. And I think Port Royal is kind of famous for that, right? The heats aren't where you make the money; it's the feature, and they end up getting it right a lot of times for the feature. So, and BAPS has been really good about that too. Heats may not be the greatest, but when it comes to feature time, they have it right. So, what did you learn watching Sydney Turn 4? You said about like entry points and kind of those things. Was there anything that you could like pick up that you don't remember seeing before at Lincoln, or was it just sort of like in generality, just sort of like watching and seeing what these guys are doing?
I kind of think like we were talking about just a minute ago, the slide jobs, that was different. And I would love to know if that's going to be the way it is all year or if it's going to change up. Like I said, it depends. It really just depends on what the track does and how the track has changed. I don't know if they put any new clay on it or anything like that over the off season, which could be a big difference. Like you said, I think I was really just watching to see what the faster guys are doing, because like I said earlier, those are the guys you want to watch. Those are the guys you want to learn from. The guys who are running up front are fast, and they have a lot of experience under their belt. So those are the guys I look up to, try to be like them. It just takes a lot of practice to be as good as them. So
as you've gone through the season, the one thing that I see a lot of times younger guys, and as a fan, just with watching and observing, as they grow, right? They might be good at time trials. They could lead some laps and win a heat. When it has to come to passing cars in a 410 at this level, what skills do you think you don't have today that you have to learn to go from 8th to the win in a heat race, go from 5th to get to the redraw and 3rd? What are some of the things that you still think that you need to learn to be able to go past those cars to move forward in a heat that's a competitive one, or guys with more experience? What do you think that you don't have yet that you think you'll learn how to pass cars?
I don't know. That's a hard one.
You may not know it yet. You might just learn, right? It might just happen because, hey, I'm faster. Figure it out, right? We had Jaden Wolf on last week, and he said he can kind of play games with people. He'll show them the nose where he doesn't want to go one lap. They block, and he goes around the top, right?
Yep.
Little things like that. Now, you have to also have speed and dirty air to get close enough to make a pass. But I think that's probably one of the hardest things for a young guy to learn if it just doesn't come natural. And hell, you've had 20 races in a 410. So, unless somebody makes a mistake, I think that would be one of the hardest things to just get good at in a short amount of time, right? Or am I missing it?
No, it is something that you have to adapt to. Passing a race car in a micro compared to a sprint car is completely different. I don't really know how to explain it. Like it's just, there's a lot more speed to it, and there's a lot more having to predict where you can go. So, I mean, a lot of it plays with trying to figure out where the guy in front of you is going, because you don't want to duck down below and then, oh, well, they're going to the bottom. Well, I need to be on the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just kind of go where they're not, and hopefully you're faster than them going there, I guess, right? Some of that, you see that a lot. You see that. I'll see that a lot in, like, you watch World of Outlaw races and high limit and outlaw shows. You can have a lane that's more dominant, but that car in second still picks the opposite lane because there's clean air. It seems like air dominates choices as much as anything else, even line dependency. You rarely see a guy just follow another car in on right behind him just because the line's good, right? There's either a big gap or they just go the opposite line because at least they have clean air. I feel like the clean air part of it is as much of a factor as your experience or the speed of your car. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Clean air is a big deal. That's something I need to get better at, is staying in clean air and getting out of the dirty air. I've noticed that all year long, that the season that I ran, I noticed that dirty air is really bad, and it affects the car way worse than anybody could imagine.
That also affects how much the nose stays down, I assume, right?
Yep.
I've seen some pretty monster wheel stands from you last year. I'll be honest. It photos great, but it may not be the fastest. Yeah, that one at Bats that night, that car, whatever you had in that thing, it wanted to pick the nose up so easy off of turn two. I didn't leave turn two like the whole night because I was like, oh shit, JJ's coming. I'm gonna get a wheel stand picture. That was do you remember that night? I feel like you pulled a wheel stand off of two every time, every lap for that whole heat, I think.
I think it was just a mixture of, there was slick and then there was a spot of moisture, and when you get to that moisture and the wheels grab, it just wants to lift the nose up.
Yeah.
So
it was super cool. Jimmy, Chris, what else you got?
We got a question from Sean Donnelly. Who is JJ's engine builder, and does he know of any other drivers who run Mopar?
I'm not sure of any other drivers who run Mopar. My engine builder is DMY Performance. Danny does a great job with our motor. He's the one who built the Mopar originally, so we just kind of stuck through him. He was a great help to us last year, just setting up where we need to be with the motor and all that fun stuff with it.
And for 2024, I mean, obviously, what are your plans? Like, I know we kind of talked before the show, mainly planning on Lincoln, but you have anywhere else you're going to try to get to? What's the rough plan looking like?
It's really depending on motor situations. I'd like to maybe get to the Grove once or twice. We'll probably run some of the BAPS races, but that's probably about it with the motor limits. Like I was telling you guys before the show, you can only get 20, 22, 25 nights out of these things if you're lucky. And that's pushing it. You have to be really careful at that point. And I'd rather stop at 19, 20 shows than push it to 25 and blow a rod through it. And then you're out for sure. You're out for the season. Where a rebuild could be, you get it back in 4 weeks. So, yeah, it's really just depending on our motor situations, what we're going to do. But for now, we're primarily Lincoln, maybe some BAP shows, just wherever I can learn. That's just, that is this year's goal, is to learn, and probably not much more than learn. So
Actually, Chris, I want you to ask the question that you normally ask drivers, because I'm curious on this one, because he's kind of traveled. He's seen the world a little bit, raced a little bit everywhere. So I'm curious.
Right. So JJ, the question I would like to know, if you could pick one race that you wanted to win, what would it be? Any division, anywhere?
That's a tough one. I've seen a lot of races. It would definitely be a 410 show. Probably a World of Outlaws show at the Grove. I mean, I think the Grove itself is an iconic track, and to be able to win there is that's hard to do, even on a weekly show. So I mean, when the Outlaws are in town, that would be something that would stick with me forever. That would probably be the one I would like to win.
And Chris used to get excited about that, but he doesn't like 410s anymore. So
yeah, he's a sportsman guy now.
He's a sportsman guy
now.
So.
Williams Grove's still the best track.
Gary, hey, well, thanks for hanging in, Gary. WRT Speedworks, whoever's running that account this evening, thanks for stopping in. Seth, appreciate you being here, brother. Steph, Chris always asks that tough question. You ready for mine? Because have you watched our show before at all?
I've glanced in a couple times.
Okay. Well, you got 20 races under your belt, so I got to know who's someone you love racing with last year, every week or whatever. Maybe you had a race that you remember, it was memorable. You had a great time racing with it. Who would it be?
Um, I don't remember where I was running this night, but it was me, Riley Emig, and Dylan Norris. We're three kids who grew up racing together. So it was pretty much back to like our quarter midget days. We were throwing sliders at each other every lap. That was probably my favorite race of the year, besides leading a couple laps at Lincoln. But that was a fun race. Just getting to throw sliders with Riley and Dylan, and it's just different when you know the guys and you've raced with them before. You know they're going to race you with respect. But that's probably the one That's probably the ones that I liked racing with the most last year.
All right. And then the actual tough one. Somebody who's a pain in your butt to race with. Now, you don't have to not like them, or I don't care. You can say you don't like them. I'm not going to go there. But somebody who is hard to pass, it's been tough to race around. They race you hard, you race them hard, whatever the case may be. Sort of the opposite, where it's not. I'll leave it to you to answer.
Well, somebody I like to race with, but he's really hard to pass and get around. Chad Trout. He's tough to get around, and he's going to race you hard. But I've raced with him a couple times, bumper to bumper, and he's definitely a tough one to get by and race with. So
that's very, very thoughtful answer, actually, because I think a lot of people were just like, whatever. Look, Seth, you would do a lot less than that for chicken straight.
Seth Dietrich is being a menace tonight.
Guy. I'm telling you, this guy. Gary wants your autograph, by the way, JJ. So you have to bring a marker to the racetrack next week. If you're there. Hey, looks like we might be racing on Sunday again, everybody, if we race at all this week. So we'll see about that. But that's all I have for JJ. Jimmy, what do you got?
You basically
got it.
That was it. Tell us who gets you to and from the track and helps you out with this car.
The guys who get me to and from the track, my dad and Brittany, they own the car. Like I was telling you guys earlier, we're a family-owned, low-budget team. So my dad and Brittany put all their time and money into this race car. But a couple of guys who help us out, Next Level Signs and Graphics, Colby Jacobs and Neil Ricart of your hometown agents, Diversified Cuts, Wolf's Plumbing, CSI Shocks, and Radical Race Gear. Those are our big guys. They help us as much as they can, and every little bit helps. And I can't thank all them guys enough.
Also, those sweet shirts and all that merch you have in the background, obviously you're going to have it at the track when you do get there, but can they get it online anywhere?
Yeah, JKLRacing67.com. You can get it on the website. You can order it, and you can pick it up at the track, or we can ship it to you. So,
say that website one more time.
JKLRacing67.com.
Perfect. What we'll do when we make a post or something, we'll put a link to it for you. Try to get some people over to the website and get some merch, man, so we can get that rebuild fund built up, so you can get that thing back sooner. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Right, hey, appreciate you being here, man. Good luck this season. Hopefully we see you out there soon and lead some more laps at Lincoln, man. Good luck to you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, JJ.
Yeah.
JJ Loss, everyone. That was a fun interview. I liked the shirts, man. The shirts and the car they really pop.
Yeah, so. That little bit of teal for this year.
Yes.
It's not a lot, but it's going to be just right.
So it's JKL67.com. Jet on over there, get your JJ Loss merch, and hopefully we'll see you out at the track soon.
Jeremy's just drooling for those pictures he's going to get because it's a white car that pops.
That's all. And they got a little bit of the pink, the teal. Oh, buddy. Listen, there's some pretty race cars out there this year already, and I haven't even seen them all yet. I just saw. Did you guys see Cody Lehman put his picture up of his new design? It's very similar to last year, but it's slightly different. Man, that car, no matter where it went, that white with that day glow orange and blue, man, it pops. So I'm excited. Hopefully, get to port soon, and if they ever race again, I know they haven't had anything. Well, they didn't have practice rained out, but this weekend doesn't look good. Lincoln just posted they are rain date Sunday again. They just posted it as a official rain date, so we'll see what this weekend brings. Who knows? We'll see what the weather looks like. So.
Well, let's talk about Lincoln. Let's talk about yesterday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, the rain date for Lincoln. They had 410 sprinters. They had 31, a couple more show up, and also PA micro midgets, which we were talking about last week. What the hell are those? We found out.
We definitely found out.
But anyway, let's stick with the 410 sprints. Anthony Macri with a pretty dominating win. Kyle Moody in second. Was really impressive. Actually gave Anthony a good run for his money when they got into lap traffic. It was a slider fest. The track really widened out after, you already talked about it with Fred working on the track. It really came in. I know you were asking Jay-Z yesterday if you could see it on flow. Yeah, you could see it on flow. They did a really good job of trying to get all the battles that you could see. It was, they were going from first back to 10th, 12th. It was all over. So it looked like a really fun race. So tell us your point of view. You were there.
Yeah, I got to run here in a minute or two, but it was wild. Like I was standing 1 and 2 or standing 3 and 4. Every time I'd see a slider go by, I'd look over and there's another one from another part of the field coming. It just, there were cars all over the track. They were high, they were low, they were sliding each other. There were wheel stands off the corner. There were, it just seemed very chaotic and everybody seemed close together. Anthony got going as soon as they got the lap traffic, man. The 99 caught him and ran him down and passed him. Like, kudos to Kyle Moody. Whatever he does early in the season, like, give me more of it because he did this last year. He got a win, I believe, in April last year and looked really, really good, man. And that momentum, that positive momentum, really keep that going for him. But listen, he passed Anthony Macri under green, in lap traffic and looked really good. And Anthony Macri, obviously, we expect him if you start on the pole that he's going to contend for a win. That none of that surprised us that he got back by him, but like it was unbelievable. Yeah, the 3rd through 8th, that Raymer, Dietrich, Borden, McIntyre, Dietz. Like I remember, I watched a little bit of the replay today, and Moody was battling with
McIntyre. And Matt Campbell too at one point, right?
Matt Campbell at the beginning of the race, and then Moody ends up leading, and Campbell fell a little. He didn't end up in that battle, and it was just chaos. And I couldn't remember. I lost track. Freddie was up there running with Danny at one point, ended up finishing 6th or 7th. Like there was a lot of comers and goers, and it was sliders and momentum. You got your momentum killed. You could have lost 3 spots with the lap traffic and then all the sliders and things. It was awesome. And at this point, like, these first 2 races were on flow at Lincoln, and the crowd for Icebreaker was great. Yesterday was pretty good. It wasn't Icebreaker full, but it was really good. And it should have been. It was 65 degrees. I was wearing a T-shirt. But I feel like last season I went home. I feel like every damn weekend went, damn, that race was good at Lincoln Speedway. They just have it going right now on that surface. Like, yeah, it may not be great for the heats every week, but damn, when that feature comes around, they got it figured out, and it's a show. Last year, the Macri and Marks Battle of World of Outlaw show, Peck won early in the season. That was a battle. Freddie, even with a lot of those wins, even if you cannot be a fan, but coming from 14th isn't just a joke.
Yep.
There were so many good races last year, even with Freddie winning a lot, right? There was just so many. So I was super impressed with the track, obviously, and those guys put on a damn show. I think Danny put out a post today. Like, Danny put out a post that, like, he didn't win the damn race, but it couldn't have been more fun. It was intense. And every every lap of that damn race seemed intense. So, there were as many photographers as drivers in that field. So I agree. About you could trip over one if you weren't paying attention.
Gerard McIntyre had a good run. He ended up falling back. Let's see here. He went back he was like basically in 3rd until basically the last lap. He ended up going back to 5th. Devin Borden, man, he was on a rail. He charged up through the field. I don't remember exactly where he started, like 16th or 14th. He charged up through. Chase Dietz had a really good run up through. Freddie and Danny were coming up again, kind of like how they did with Icebreaker, and they were coming up through. And then Freddie just kind of lost a couple spots right there at the end. Just with that battle from 3rd through 8th, like that, like we were saying, just a great battle.
Yeah, I think it's something that I took notice to was Devin Borden. The improvement from last week, the icebreaker themselves, how bad they struggled and that they self-admittedly struggled. Recovered well, kind of got back to form a little bit. Solid run for them, especially after week one not going so well.
Troy
sorry.
had to go from fourth from the fourth from B main, so he started shotgun on the field, and he got himself up to 13th. And Steve Owings had a decent run as well.
14th, yep.
And it was good to see Emerson. Not only was it good to see Emerson Axum finish a race, but he finished 13th. He had a decent run.
You're talking about Devin Borden. I saw Devin Borden even run in the middle and the bottom yesterday, so I know that he calmed down after week one. Talked to him in the pits a little bit, and he said, "I just it was me. I said, Devin, that's okay. I'd rather have you try to slow you down than speed you up, and that's okay. You'll live, you'll learn." And he looked like a veteran driver yesterday, and a lot of that day, whether it was the heat, whether it was the feature, he was just moving around. Obviously, when he wanted to go to the cushion, it was there, and he was freaking ripping the top. And when he had the opportunity, he would rip, and he could make time doing it. So that was definitely a good recovery for them. And
speaking of Borden, I think you picture a guy that gets in that 23 car. They go win the championship last year, doing it the Port Royal way, the way Macri did it. He's now learning that next part where the cushion's not always there. You can't always be all the way onto the wall. And I think you're going to see a lot of learning this year from him. I think kind of like Macri, it wasn't that long ago. Macri couldn't run small tracks, and now look at him. And I think Borden's on that same kind of path here.
Yeah, it's a growth and evolution for sure, maturity. And listen, when Port opens, we're not going to see Devin a bunch. So on Saturday nights, he's going to go to Port, and he's going to do that. And by the way, yeah, Gary actually, I think Gary said it right there. Yeah, he lost power steering in that race. Under red flag, he was not very happy. No power steering. So it's good he's been in the gym.
Yeah.
Do you even lift, bro? But that really probably helped, and it didn't look like it slowed him down a damn bit. So good for him. Yeah, no shit, Seth, for sure. At Lincoln, and the way that track was, did not have power steering. Good for him. I'd have just parked that son of a bitch. My weak ass wouldn't have been able to do it.
Cody Hartlob.
Oh man,
that was tough. We didn't see a replay on Flo. It was that car was junked. We are glad he is okay for sure. Agree with you, Randy. Heartbreaking though. First
another good run.
Another good run. He was running up in the top 5, and it sounded like he hopped up into the dirty stuff up there near the wall and just got into the wall, and away it went. So that was tough to see.
For sure. And I texted Cody, and he got back to me late last evening, said he's doing okay. Just sucks about the car, which it is, but I'd rather have Cody than a race car. So glad he's doing good, and get to see him back out there soon. I'm sure. So we'll see here. The week. If he had a rain week and we didn't race at all, I'm sure that team would be okay with a week off to get everything going there. Yeah, Troy in the heat race, I assume. What's up, Cody? Hey, buddy.
Hey, Cody's here. There he is.
There he is. Good to see you, buddy. Steph, what flew off Troy's car? That was a tie rod. After he destroyed the left front on the wall, he was going to be fine, finished the race, and then the tire came apart, which he said also would have been fine. That was a tie rod that went flying, and then he spun himself out down the backstretch, so it did make it worse. It kind of nudged it in the inside wall there. I got a picture of it because it happened right in front of me. I was just having to stand there. I'm like, oh, Troy's wrecking. So I showed him the picture of it, and he's like, of course you got a picture of it. I'm like, well, I'm standing there. What else am I going to do? I'm not going to not take the picture, even if it's good or bad. So, yeah, that was a tie rod that went flying from what I heard. I didn't even see that. He told us that in intermission. So that too. Yes. Listen, there's a lot of people. I've heard, again, this probably has happened a lot, but I've heard multiple people in the first 2 weeks how many times they've hit the inside wall at Lincoln this year already. Almost always in 3 and 4.
I mean, even Billy's video, he said he had to get his first one out of the way. Open icebreaker morning, a new wheel.
Yep. Cody hit it. I know Matt Campbell has hit it. Troy has, I think Cody did also. Cody hit the left front, the first week. So eventful, but overall, I mean, Cody was torn up, but it wasn't, I feel like it wasn't as bad as last week, right? Less cars this time. Oh, well,
What are you
shit.
talking about? We had more cars.
Yeah, he had more cars.
Torn up race cars.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Cody hit the inside wall both weeks. You should stop doing that. The 75. Oh, good grief. He was in a
Smith.
Cam Smith.
no, Cam Smith. He got caught up in one there. In 3 and 4 there was a 3-car deal there. So couple things there, but definitely don't want cars destroyed. That sucks. So what else we got? We got comments coming in here. What did Seth say now? Did I miss one? Talent. That's okay. Yeah.
Seth has brought a couple talent. That is what flew off Troy's car. I loved you, Troy. Kissy face. And then he also said on a scale of 1 to 10, how fast did you run out of talent, Cody? He's jabbing everybody tonight.
This guy,
He's a bona fide keyboard warrior.
I love it.
It must be the Dietrich name,
Well, so yeah, good race. Kyle Moody, I think, was probably the most impressive. Just not just keeping up there. We know he has the talent to win and the car to win. But with someone like Macri being able to go back and forth with them in lap traffic was really impressive. So hopefully that continues throughout the season for him.
Yeah, and I talked to Cody in down in Victory Lane. He was doing an interview, and or not Cody, Kyle Moody. Sorry, Jesus, my brain's gone. So when he had the lead, they had I think on Cody's red flag. They took the restart, and he came off and went to go to the restart and just pulled the front tires off the ground down the front. Did you guys see that on that replay? I happened to be standing there and got it. That thing, he said it had all the forward drive. He said when I wanted it to go, he said it took off. So, forward drive yesterday, on a restart with, I don't know if it was slick or not. It must not have been that slick, but they just pulled the front tires up off the ground on a restart. So, pretty cool for sure. He had a great day. So hopefully he keeps that momentum going there. Like I said, last year, he won a race early in the season and it sort of trailed off a little bit. Hopefully he can keep that aggressiveness and go pick off some more consistency inside the top 5.
Jimmy's solid. Tyler's comment there, I think something not to be overlooked. Kirk Deweese coming over could add some experience and maybe keep that steam engine rolling a little bit longer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
if anybody wants a cat, I'm about to put one up for adoption. He keeps chewing on my cord. I'm about to strangle him.
I think Tyler said earlier, speaking of Deweese, Lance, they hinted at a new scheme, it looked like. Is that what that
they put out Lance put up a couple pictures here today. It's red and it still says 12, so
it doesn't look too much different. Probably some different sponsors and stuff. Hopefully we'll see it at the track soon. I think they're planning on running port opening day. That probably won't happen, unfortunately. So yeah. Anything else from Lincoln yesterday? Do you want to talk about the micro midgets?
I know what they are now. I'm fully educated on
I didn't know that they had 2 different classes. I know that was like a I can't remember who said it last week. They said it was a 500cc engine, but there is also a 300cc version
in a different chassis.
In a different chassis?
Yes.
Yeah. So 270s and 600s run different chassis. Okay. In the real micro world, 270s
in the real world.
It's not this PA micro midget made up world that we just are figuring out about. Okay. There's a 270 class in Central PA and there's a 600 class. They are different chassis and different engines. They're different cars, different divisions.
That makes sense.
Now take both of those and put different engines in each one, and they race kind of together at the same events, but not on the track together in different divisions of the same thing, sort of sanctioning body thing. It's confusing as hell.
You said what? One is a 300cc engine and a 270 chassis.
Yeah,
and the 500 was in the
600.
And then there was a disparity in cars because they started 29 of the 500cc ones. Okay. And
3 speeds here, there, gone.
Some of them didn't even get here or there. They just stopped. They didn't even run. Every race they'd pull out track and one of them wouldn't run or stop, or it would, and then it was transponders, it wouldn't work.
Tyler says the features were excellent. So, did you watch the features?
Oh, you're the optimist. Ever the optimist, there, Mr. Tyler. Ever the optimist.
I'm gonna put a micro midget race in my top 5 races to see this year.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
I've seen them. They started 29 of them. Okay, so here, I'm going to tell you how this one scenario went during the feature.
Agree, Brad.
Absolutely,
It's
Brad.
too much. I
It's
mean,
way
it's
too
not.
much.
They had 29 of the 500cc cars there, and they started them all, which is great. But I mean, they
Yeah,
were
it's-
halfway around the damn track. But check it out. So there was a car. He obviously just a young guy, super young guy. Okay, 100% Seth. Super young kid took off. He was lapped. He got lapped. They had a yellow or a red or something came out, and he was he got lapped up to like 8th place. Well, when this yellow came out, he just blended in line about 8th place. They didn't move him back to the back of the field. He restarted in 8th, and he was so slow when they took the green flag that like 7th and 9th place ended up almost like quarter of a lap behind because he held him up at the cone and didn't go. They didn't move him to the back because I don't think they knew who was where. I don't think they had any clue who running position was who. They just left him in the middle of the field.
I respect the hustle.
I do.
So it was cool though. And the guy that won, apparently I got to know the name. I don't know him, but he has his own sort of like he's either does supplies parts for this division and cars and helps teams out. I heard his name come up multiple times that let someone borrow a motor. He gave someone a wheel. He gave someone this to get to the track. Like really, like they're a community, and that's what I really learned from that. They're a community and they were all helping each other out, and which is awesome. And he went and won the race, and he actually got the lead by the leader got picked by a lap car. So he ended up getting the lead and winning the race. So they listen, it was like Daytona drafting of micros. Okay.
I did not see one car slide. At least on Flow, it didn't look like any car slid.
I did hot laps.
At
There was
all.
a car that was really loose. He got sideways once in hot laps. I saw it.
It looked
Brent-
like slot cars, which
Brent
is
says
fine. I mean, hey,
Brent's
a big
hot take
track for
is it's
them.
better than over 40 legends, which
That's this weekend. Okay.
yeah,
We're gonna
well, you
go
got
back
that
and do
upcoming this weekend. Yeah, so I mean, there's that. I mean, hey, listen, I get it.
I'm sure they're
It's really
fun of it.
confusing. I'm with everybody on like, let's just standardize stuff, but at the same time, I do like that there's some budget stuff. But to me, I would ask the question: is that really budget? I mean, I guess it's not a 600 micro, which we know that can get expensive, but shit.
I just feel like a 3/8 mile might be a little bit.
I think it's more exposure for them. You know what I mean?
Right,
It gets
for
people
sure.
out to the
For
track,
sure,
gets
sure.
them going, gets eyes on that series. Hey, you know
They'd
what? This
probably
might be in my budget to go race. It's smart. I get
probably
it.
be really cool at the new BAPS. Is it McGrew Motorplex, whatever?
Yeah.
They'll probably be really
I
cool
don't
there.
know that series or where they run a lot, but
Right.
here's the other thing with that. And they showed them off the week before at Lincoln a little bit.
Yep.
And there's some, there's some fan activation type stuff there, but like, and then maybe I didn't hear it or pay attention close enough when they were running about, announcing where they run and where they're running this season. What tracks can you go find them at? Do they have a website? Tell the fans in the stands about this a little more. And maybe they did. Again, I can't say that they didn't do it. I don't remember hearing it, but that's a division for me. It's almost like an exhibition. They ran and they raced for a win, but at the same time, like as they're doing this and getting on the track, hey fans, listen, these cars are going to be here. They're going to go there. This is places you can catch them at. Go check it out. They obviously had 29 cars, right? They had 29 that one division. They're going to
I
put.
did
a
not
good
think they
field
would
of
have
cars
that
out
many, to be honest.
I didn't either. I didn't realize it until they went single file. I'm like, did they add cars? Where are these all cars coming from? They went single file and the train kept coming. And I thought they were full speed, but they were under yellow. But either way, neither here nor there. No, it was okay. It was fine. It was fine for what it was.
We run at Hunterstown a lot.
Okay. And
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Oh, good question.
I'm not racing.
Question
shit.
for you, T2T hosts. If you could race a series, what would you pick?
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
I mean, it depends. Am I paying for it or not?
I'm not getting behind the wheel of a race car.
I would love to get behind a wheel
wait,
of a
if I
race
could
car
race
one
a
time.
series, not run a race series. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to run a race series. Okay.
No, if you could race a series, get in a race car and actually race.
Wingless sportsman, baby. I sold out.
Um,
Brett Marigo talked me into it.
The pinnacle would be 410 sprint car racing, so I'm just gonna pick that. It's never gonna happen, but I mean, I don't know. Like I would race anything. I would love to run a little shit street stock if I could.
I always thought the Thunder cars looked fun, to be honest with you, like at what it is. But I've always been a sprint car guy, a 410 sprint car. I mean, that would have always been the thing to go do.
There he is.
Don't you tempt me with a good time, Brett Perigo. You may not get that car back. It may be in the weeds somewhere in Williams Grove where there's not a catch fence. Okay.
I will say this. Tyler says, "Get me in a
Not gonna get
super
me out
dirt
of
or
it.
big block modified." I think a modified would be fun to drive. I could see that. It's not wouldn't be my first choice. Like I said, I would get in anything, but Ampey's right. We're all 410 racers
on
iRacing.
On iRacing.
100%.
Barely that.
I'm a NASCAR driver now, actually.
I'm a Cup Series driver.
I'm a Cup Series driver. But yeah.
But to answer the question, if I was going to pick one, I would go Wingless Sportsman because Rowan Beasley talked me into it. And Brett
Chris
Bergo.
sold out.
See, JJ Loss, if you're still listening, see, he would have gotten excited about your Williams Grove answer.
Yeah.
If it was 6 months ago, but all of a sudden, this sellout, this guy.
New camera, new shirt,
Hey,
new attitude.
speaking of sportsmen, tell us about your podcast, your Rolling podcast. Some changes this week. Who you got on this week?
This week, Thursday night, new night, 7 p.m. Luke Lanker's coming in to join Tony and I. Should be a fun one. He's quite the character. Helps promote the Wingless Sportsman division a lot. Definitely a character. So I look forward to that one a lot.
I'm not laughing at you.
No, I see what you're laughing at.
Seth is coming in with fire tonight. If you want to race a modified, just get in Wild Bill's car. It looks the same. Damn, man.
Looks like Frank Cozy's modified. So yellow. And pretty sure
All right,
he
well,
ran yellow.
Finishing recap of there was nothing else. There's nothing else this week. World of Outlaws got rained out yesterday. They are racing right now. They're actually doing the lineup right now for their 19 cars that they got down at Volusia.
Like their
Should
lineup.
be a conversation. I don't want to go into that right now.
We'll do that next week.
We'll do that next week. I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a Volusia problem, not an Outlaw problem. So we'll go over that next week because probably by the time we get off the air is when this race will actually finish. Looking forward to this weekend. You already said Lincoln already said the rain date for Sunday this week. 410s and Legends, 3 p.m. start again. And then also Port Royal's on slated to have their opening day on Saturday. With 410s and super late models. Gates at 1, racing at 4. That's if, obviously with trying to be optimistic, but looking at the forecast, it doesn't look great. So I don't know if Port goes to a Sunday or if they just all around pack it in. We'll see. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on your social medias this upcoming week. We also have the World of Outlaws will be going down to Texas after this Volusia race tonight, Friday and Saturday down at Kentdale Speedway Park in Texas. And I think they go to Devil's Bowl the week after. So they'll start picking up every weekend now. We'll have more racing to talk about, but I'm just glad that we have any racing to talk about at the moment.
What's racing in Delaware? Does it not rain in Delaware?
Delaware.
What's racing in Delaware?
It's got to be modified.
I would imagine Mud Turtles.
And I think the system goes above Delaware, so it doesn't get rain this week.
And definitely had more angles yesterday, but I couldn't find Kyle in the feature. I for whatever reason I don't know where he was running. So
that's savage.
Short track Super Series modifieds, 8,500 to win. Speaking of which, they also go to Port Royal next weekend.
Oh yeah.
For their makeup show from last year, to $50,000 to win race. They'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I believe. I think Thursday's a practice day or load-in day, whatever. But
I saw practice Friday morning, and then Friday night's qualifiers, main event Saturday.
Yeah, so it looks like it sounds like it's going to be a really good turnout. I know they get like 50, 60 of them there, so you might get about the same amount this time.
All right, I'm uneducated. I'm a dummy. What are STSS modifieds? What are they? What's
Short
track Super Series.
I know what STSS stands for. What engines in them?
Big blocks. They're big blocks.
Big blocks?
Right?
I don't say things.
Or is it 358s? But
pretty
sure. Touring series of them. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Pretty sure it's big blocks.
Okay.
We need to know, Tyler.
Just wait for Tyler to chime in.
Tell me if I'm right or wrong. You can tell me I'm wrong.
And I'm okay
probably am.
One.
Big block.
I'm a big block.
Seth says I'm a big block. It's big block, so I'm right.
It's good to see that Seth's still alive.
They have big block and small blocks. I thought so. I think they mix them if they want to, but I don't think anybody's going to run a small block at Port. I don't think that would make any sense.
Probably not. Well, It could be 23.
STSS equals high limit of modified.
Oh,
Big blocks mostly, but the rules allow 358s thrown with them, which is cool. That's cool.
fair enough. So that's when that's supposed to be next
Weekend.
And then what else is running then? So Williams Grove opens on Sunday.
Williams
That's-
Grove.
Super Sportsman.
So Williams Grove
Baffles
opens that
16.
Sunday, 410s with Wingless Sportsman
Ooh.
on that Sunday. So that'll be awesome to watch. And then BAP Saturday night.
With their regular Saturday night Sportsman's late models, extreme stocks show, and I guess Lincoln probably races too.
We'll talk more about that next week. We don't want to go too far ahead here, but in short, racing season is here. More and more tracks are starting to open up. We just got to pray for good weather here. Looking out at the forecast for the next 2 weeks, honestly, I mean, obviously it's way too far ahead, but even 2 weeks from now doesn't look great. But let's hope that changes. But it is March in Pennsylvania, so who knows? March 15th, 16th, STSS at Port, and then March 16th is 358, 410 at Lincoln, 358's debut.
And
So not this upcoming weekend, but the next weekend after is going to be very busy here in PA, which is good.
I will be a busy fella that weekend. Yes,
we don't care.
I care.
No, I'm kidding. I'll take 60 in rain over 30 in snow. I agree. Anything else?
I don't have anything else. I'll see anyone that wants to Thursday at 7.
Port Royal announcing their fan zone real quick. What do you guys think about it? Kind of how they do the Tuscarora 50, where they kind of have a whole zone outside of the have the little space outside the fairground building there, right outside the pits. I think it's a great move. I think it'll help get people in and out better, and it won't feel so crowded in that midway.
I think the cool part is you don't have to buy a ticket necessarily to get into that section. So if you're there camping and not going in, or you're just passing through town and can't go to the race, you can stop and buy merch if they're set up. I think that part's the cool part for the teams to have their trailers set up there.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. And then also we want to give a birthday shout out to former guest of the show, friend of the show, AJ Flick. Happy birthday. And when does Lernerville start?
Dude, I don't even know if it exists. Is it still around?
I'd like to get out to Lernerville one time. Steph has another question. When is there going to be more T2T merch? We do got to work on that.
We still have the other merch.
We still have a couple shirts, I think. So if you're looking,
a box of shirts, yes.
So if you want, get in contact with our on Messenger with us and tell us a size, and we'll let you know if we have it and how much. We'll try to get it to you.
Brock Zierfoss is already in the work area before the race started.
Broke Zierfoss, baby.
Well, listen, you can't start any worse than where he would normally start.
Hey, he didn't have to. I'm not gonna say it. I made the joke before. At least he didn't have to worry about using a provisional. I love Brock though. I love Brock.
Hey, you're blurry, dude. Do one of these.
I know. Whatever.
Maybe it's
we should get Seth on the show. I think that
he already says he wouldn't be able to. We wouldn't be able to handle him.
And he would sit here and be silent and just look at us. He'd have to type his answers in. This guy.
First week of April, Tyler thinks about Lernerville, which sounds about right.
Sense. Probably April 5th.
Right.
That's it. I think that's all we got this week.
As far as merch, listen, we like what we do with the show here. None of us really put more time in than what you see each week. No, that's not true. But we haven't really invested in, looking for advertisers or really gotten into the merch. And we tried to have a sign. We owned it for a weekend.
We had it. I didn't even have it for a weekend. We had it for about 20 hours.
Yeah, 20 hours. It got stolen at Port, so that's fun. We still love Port, but it's the dangerous palace.
The danger palace.
Yeah, the danger palace. But yeah, we don't really, we really haven't dove into that world a whole lot as far as merchandising ourselves. We're fans. We just want to go fan out, and honestly, that's just what we do. So if this keeps growing, I think that's something we probably should look into for all of us. Yeah. But
I like designing the merch. It's fun to
our
do.
lives are all just super busy, and we just kind of love doing this, and this is enough. We love it.
If we could, I was gonna say, if we continue to get more interest in it, maybe we'll put a pre-order up we'll get something together. Right now we've been just doing some small batch stuff, but we do have some t-shirts, so get in contact with us if you're interested in one.
Joey, Steph has the Pringle goggles, buddy.
Well, should we make two T Pringle goggles?
And if you haven't, you need to go watch the Iceberger Billy District video. It will all make sense.
Yeah, listen, just go watch any of Billy Dietrich stuff. Just go be a fan. You can't not like this guy. Go watch his stuff. Go watch his content. Go back 2 years and watch the shit. It's been good from the beginning. So we're big Billy Dietrich fans here. Obviously, we've had him on the show a couple times, and just a good human, man. I like Billy a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you guys. We like all the humans that are in the chat right now listening to us. We really appreciate it. If not, we would just be talking to ourselves.
Does Seth qualify as a human, or is he?
Yes. Yes,
No.
he does.
I don't think he's real. I think he's like Elon Musk's AI, the funny one.
He's an amoeba.
He's Seth Grok. Grok Dietrich.
The Billy and Danny interactions are great. We need to get Danny on the show. That's really what we
gotta
need
get Danny. I guess
there's a couple that we still need to hash out and try to get on here.
Yeah, who do you think we should have on? Everybody that's still left in here. Who should we have on here? We got to just ask Danny. We haven't really kind of done that. I don't know his schedule. Who else would you guys want to see on here? I had an idea. I want to reach out this week to a guest, see what that looks like coming up. Maybe we'll get a little.
Lucas Wolf would be cool to have on too. I'm going to throw his hat in the ring if anybody's listening there.
All right, I like that one, Lucas Wolf. Who else have we had? We haven't had Anthony, but I don't know if he's up for that. I don't know if that's his thing.
I mean, around here, Danny's probably the big one. Lance, Luis.
No, Brad, anybody, man. If you guys want to see somebody, we will do our best. And if somebody want to know, or
except the sportsman driver.
Jesus.
That has to go on the other podcast.
Seth, Danny can do it anytime from 8 to 6. He's not really working. He's gonna get his ass kicked. I'm pretty sure.
Tyler
Dallas shot.
We didn't have Tyler on?
I
thought we had Tyler on.
No.
Maybe in the very beginning for a short time. I thought so too. But maybe not. Maybe in the very beginning, a short time. But I know I talked to Brad and Ron at the Racing Extravaganza. And Ron says that Tyler talks to girls now, so he's ready. So.
Oh, Dallas. Okay. Dallas shot. Okay.
Yeah.
We could probably do that. I like that. I'd like to get to know more about his story, because I know he was racing. Dallas was like a 360 guy and then went and helped Brent on the road for a couple of years and then wanted to do his own thing again. And actually, he'll be making his debut this weekend in his 55. Dallas Shot should be making his debut. So, Aiden Myers is definitely one we've talked about for sure. Cole Small, I could talk to Cole. I met him at Racing Extravaganza. So definitely some more young guys we want to have on, and some of the veterans too. Listen, if all of you that are here now tell your friends about the show and we grow it enough, maybe we can get Lance on here someday. Maybe we can do that. Mm-hmm. We talked about Lance and Cole at the same time and having them, father son on the show. That'd be fun.
Corey Haas would be an interesting one. I like that.
Yeah, I've never spoken to Corey.
Chad Trout.
I've had a couple requests for that. I might have to do that one for sure.
Also, it also helps us if you let your favorite drivers know about the podcast and tell them to get on the show.
That does help a lot.
It does actually help.
For sure. So, no, we appreciate that. And we'll keep this rolling, as long as drivers can get on here and they have time. During racing season, we try not to be too, in their face about it, because they have things going on. And most of these guys do work and then shop nights and making sure they're ready to go for the weekend and whatever. But yeah, we want to keep it rolling as long as we can keep drivers coming. Otherwise, you'll just get to hear us ramble on for a few hours. So
my favorite driver is Jay-Z on iRacing. Me too.
You don't even get on iRacing. You don't even know what that is. But yeah, I'd probably be your favorite.
Roll change. I'm asking the questions.
Right.
This thing's off
that could be a fun scenario sometimes.
Fred Putney is somebody that we actually did talk about.
Listen, we've talked about Fred coming on here, and I talked to Fred a few times yesterday, and he said he doesn't even watch the show live because it's too damn late. 8 p.m. is too late. He's in bed. He watches it the next day. So he when we first started, he would comment, but he told me the other night that our show's too late. He goes to bed early. He's worn out from the weekend. So
Yeah, I don't blame him.
PlayStation 2. What?
Yeah.
It's got that World of Outlaws game, baby.
Is it all you're allowed to have?
Oh, Buddy Kofoid just spun from the lead. Womp,
Oh,
womp.
tough break.
I
Halfway
don't think he
through.
likes winning.
It apparently not. That'll give Gio Celsi, I think, the lead now.
Allergic to winning.
All right. I think
that
we're
it?
done. I think we're
That's it.
done.
I'm done.
Thank you guys so much.
I go edit photos. I'm not even done.
I will see see you guys Thursday at 7 for
Make
Roland
sure you
Podcast.
tune in. Yes, please make sure you tune in on Thursday. New day for the Roland Podcast. Thursday, same time, same place,
Luke Lanker.
same Chris, same
me.
Tony, different guest. So definitely check that out. And then we will see you guys next Monday, and we'll try to maybe get one of these people that you just said.
Yeah, keep
For
sending the
next
comments in, and we'll see what we do.
All of them. We'll have a round table. We'll have 8 people on at the same time. And let Chris host it. And I'm not going to be here.
Take it easy, guys.